right, hit me.
Okay. So this is an unconfirmed leak for From Software's upcoming new title with the tagline "Shadows Die Twice." Now there was some speculation about this game that it might be Bloodborne 2 or it might be Tenchu because of the Shadows line, both of which are titles that are owned by FromSoft. And we can't confirm this leak. It's something that was posted on the 4chan forum.
Everybody knows what 4chan is. I was on 4chan when it first started in 2003.
So
It's a dark period of my history I don't like to talk about.
okay,
I
so
used to post on B, Raven.
mm,
Why that was such an oh my god, yeah, that hurt so hard. The look you just gave me. You get
let's see.
oh god, ow. Oh. Ah, that cut right to the heart.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So,
I'll just be over here bleeding.
according to this post, From Software's Shadows Die Twice project will be somewhat similar to Dark Souls in like gameplay and atmosphere, but it'll differentiate itself from the rest of the Souls series by quote being a lot more open and not having a clear level to boss design like the previous titles did.
What do you mean by level to boss design?
So, all the levels in Dark Souls or Bloodborne are, while it is a wide interconnected world, like the paths you actually tread are fairly linear, and they eventually lead to certain bosses, inevitably. And then there's ones that
Well,
eventually,
that's a lot of RPGs have done that.
right.
Like I'm gonna bring them up again. Final Fantasy. That was kind of their bread and butter.
It's definitely not an uncommon design to use, and it sounds here like like this person is claiming that they're going to stray away from that design a little bit,
How?
quote unquote, have a more directly told story.
The fuck does that mean?
It might not be as much of a puzzle as some of his previous titles to work out what's going on in this
Oh,
one.
you're gonna be so disappointed.
I know, right?
I think that might have broken Raven's heart. That makes up for the look that you gave me when you found out I posted on B.
All right. They continue to claim that the game will draw inspiration from both Bloodborne and From Software's old PS2 game Kuon, which I have never played.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either.
Should
So,
have maybe looked that up
we
before you
should
started reading
maybe
this.
yeah we well I hadn't actually read the leak before this point. This is fresh to me. I mean I heard a little bit about it, but this is the first time I'm like
Wait,
reading
what?
it.
Something game related that you don't know?
Right. They also say that the combat is going to be more vicious and brutal.
More vicious and brutal than Bloodborne?
Yeah, apparently.
Am I gonna puke when we watch this game? Cause like
Uh,
Bloodborne makes me nauseated. It's Raven. Bloodborne's so icky. Porn is so slimy. It's so gross.
So,
If it's gonna be more violent and gross than Bloodborne, I don't know if I can watch you play it.
so Shadows Die Twice will have skills that include.
She just made air quotes. Just so everybody knows, she
yeah.
just made air quotes.
That'll include different melee moves, passives, and magic. It will not have endless skill trees that are big and flashy like Diablo-style attacks. Also, it says that trick weapons will supposedly be making an appearance, some having 3 forms, others having 2, and there are many weapons that are always two-handed or two-part.
That was the thing that you were talking to me about this morning, huh? About
Right.
having like trick weapons with more than 2 forms. You were really excited about it.
Yeah, I was pretty excited to hear about that.
Are you gonna be disappointed if that's fake?
Maybe a little.
A little.
Yeah. Now this is interesting. The game will not feature sidearms or shields, which there's usually been a sidearm or shield type. There's always like a ancillary item that you have in
Pulling
your
out the
offhand.
like fucking $72 million words there, Raven. Ancillary.
Yeah.
Mmm.
Well, it's because the
Give me
shield,
that vocabulary.
the shield, and even the firearms are mainly meant to act as a riposte to attacks. Like
Yes.
if you time them correctly, you can.
Block attack. Block attack.
Right.
Yes. Okay.
Well, it's more about like doing the like a block with a counter that like stuns them and leaves them
Yeah.
open, right?
Didn't God of War do that?
Yes, they do it in a different way. They have in God of War they have a stun meter, which fills up as you beat on them with your bare hands.
I wish real life was like that.
Yeah. But apparently, all of the weapons you'll be able to like block and or counter with. So they're doing away with the shield and letting you just use whatever weapon you're using to perform these actions.
So you can block with your like gun spear.
If there's even a gun spear.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is
Yeah.
if you've got it, you could block with it.
Right.
Okay, got it. Can you just block with your hand, or is that gonna get you? I mean, would your hand get cut off, or the look you just made? You just like stared into this like we're in the office. Like I asked the dumbest question.
Well, no,
I'm like, well, I mean,
I don't know. I'm just reading this. Each weapon will have a unique counter ability of some kind. The story is supposed to focus on an ancient cult that has been using farmers for dark rituals for hundreds of years. This sect is terrified of. They're like an apocalypse cult.
so this is called Cthulhu.
Sorta. It's that's
He's
so
making
kind
Japanese Call of Cthulhu.
of
Appropriate that we're discussing that
right
on
and
this channel,
they s-
Cat-thulu.
and they sacrifice people apparently to stave off Armageddon.
So Call of Cthulhu. I don't mean to impugn your precious Miyazaki's honor. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, he's definitely borrowed some Lovecraft and other literary elements in a lot of his work.
Well, I just mean
Um,
flat out, this is like the game Call of Cthulhu, the tabletop game.
Yeah, kind of. Okay, so many of the creatures will be the results of some of the more questionable, ethically questionable experiments, from what it sounds like.
Why do you find that funny?
Uh, it's a trope. Uh,
Everything's a trope.
I know everything's a trope by now. Is anything original anymore? Not wholly.
Not at this point.
So these enemies will often like lose limbs or their head in combat. Some of them spawning parasites from them. They're like beheaded or
Oh god, I'm
delimbed
not gonna be able
cells.
to watch you play this. It's so icky.
Somewhat.
If you guys could see Raven's joy at my disgust at this. Oh,
It makes me very happy.
you're such a
Uh,
dick. I love you, but you're such a dick.
Also claims that at the start of the game you will be a heavily maimed and disfigured person at the edge of death who is saved by a mysterious figure who gives you a new face.
Did you just say figure?
Yeah, figure.
It's figure.
Figure. Okay.
Figure. Figure.
All right, but this person apparently that's how they segue into the character creation is you get to create your new plastic surgery face.
That's unique a little bit.
So this mysterious what have you mystical MacGuffin or whatever they are.
Mystical MacGuffin. I need that on a shirt. I want to be a mystical MacGuffin.
Who the person who saves the protagonist replaces, and this is for like everybody who's playing the game, their missing arm with a multifunctional device. Apparently, this arm is also equipped with like a grappling gun to reach higher levels. So they're adding some verticality to the
That's a
game.
great way to rip your limb off.
Isn't it though? Actually, Matt Pat.
He's done something on everything.
Yeah, no, he's done all kinds of things, but Matt Pat did a video.
Like, I'm rolling around on our bed laughing because we keep bringing up, no matter what we do, we bring up Matt Pat. It always happens. We always bring up Matt Pat.
Okay.
We're just going to have to make friends with him.
So Matt Pat has done a video about the hook shot from Zelda, which is exactly like it's a high-powered, fast-recoiling grappling gun that could, yeah, like with the speeds that he calculated, it would totally kill Link using it.
I'm just throwing this out there. I don't think I want a grappling arm. It feels like I would go all Winter Soldier and it would fall the fuck off.
Okay.
I'm just throwing that out there.
So, continuing on, this is a dark fantasy world that resembles ancient Japan.
When is it not a dark fantasy world when Miyazaki's concerned?
Mostly take place in rural places.
Rural. It's a hard word to say sometimes.
There will be a bigger city to explore later. The size is supposed to be it's supposed to be on a different scale than previous titles. Essentially, like the quote from this person is that it's not fully open world like Skyrim, but it's going to have multiple interconnected levels that have multiple possible paths.
Ooh. Okay, that's kind of interesting. It still sounds really gross. I don't know if I'm going to be able to play it, but it sounds
Right.
interesting.
So you probably won't care too much about this. They have replaced the traditional PvP elements that they've used in the Soul series,
Yeah, I don't care about this. I hate
and
PvP.
instead you are able to take control of a monster or creature in another person's world for PvP.
I hate PvP, and the reason I hate PvP is because it is super stressful. Like, if I'm just beating some rando boss or spawn, fine, it's a computer. But, like, when I'm fighting PvP, there's, like, other people involved. And one, I play games to get away from people. But two, it's just super stressful because there's this other person on the end. And I'm like, then I get really wound up in it, and I don't like PvP. I don't
Yeah,
care
and
about
that's
that.
fair. I don't think you have to like PvP.
Most, no. I
I
just,
I
I don't.
don't I don't particularly like PvP all that
Also,
much
like
either.
the last time I played a lot of PvP was Call of Duty, and I have a very when I'm playing games, I slip into my customer service voice. On Call of Duty, that's a really good way to get tits or get the fuck out or pics please or hey do you suck dick comments. So I already have had bad experiences with PvP, and then on top of it, it's really stressful. Sorry, I didn't mean to segue there about my hatred for PvP, but this is why I'm so annoyed at the trend for trying to make everything multiplayer, because I don't like multiplayer. I don't like
Well,
MMOs. I don't like
all of the
fighting
Souls
people.
games have had an optional PvP option.
I'm okay with
Um,
optional PvP. That's different.
Now this is another new thing that is also in the claim, and I'm kind of excited about some of this. I'm of course waiting for E3. I believe that FromSoft is scheduled to make an announcement,
Are they?
and
I could
that's
ask Candace.
yeah
She would
we
know.
could double check that. Um,
Candace has the. Oh, she's probably asleep.
yeah, probably. This new one's supposed to have dynamic weather and day/night system for some areas, which they have not had that in any of the games. Most of the games take place where the storyline progresses
Like,
once you defeat certain enemies.
that's really interesting to me because that's what they were originally trying to go with for like Pokemon Go. They were trying to do that to be able to tap into like local weather and change the weather and change the daytime and stuff like that based on that. They weren't super successful at first. I haven't played Pokemon Go in like a while. The fact that they're going to do something not necessarily based on what's going on in the real world, but they're going to have dynamic like weather and stuff like that. That's really interesting actually.
And then supposedly, both at night and when it rains, stronger enemies will appear during those times.
Oh, well, that's also kind of like Pokemon Go. Not meaning to like draw to it because it's a totally different genre and everything, but
Right.
like you got different enemies when I was playing. You got different enemies at night than you did day. You got more water-based enemies if you were by water and stuff like that. So that's kind of interesting. It feels not like they've like stolen or even borrowed, but like they took a concept and ran with it and maybe made it their own, which is kind of interesting.
Right. So that's all the claims that the article made
Okay.
about the game, which again might not even be true. It's hard to confirm information like that until you get the official announcement.
It looks like they do have a slot. I don't know when. Candace is, to the best of my knowledge, asleep, but I'm looking at as much public knowledge as out for non-industry people. Remaster of a classic PlayStation game. Wait, we're not. We're gonna just do that instead of like fuck around with Final Fantasy VII. Okay, fine. From Software will debate date. Okay, it's gonna be. They have a spot, but it doesn't say when. So
Okay.
sometime during E3 they will be, but they do have a spot, so that's confirmed. So they'll be. Hopefully, we'll get a trailer.
Yeah, get some more information about this.
They don't. I mean,
And
that's standard at E3 to debut trailers of stuff that you've done, but like it's not necessary. And
no,
so
actually, with the trailer they showed, I don't know
I'm
if I.
saying hopefully we'll get a different trailer.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Did I show you the other one?
Was it gross?
It was like 13 seconds of just this mechanism.
I'll look at it
and
later. Was it
Okay.
gross though?
And it's got some blood. Not really.
But it's not like oozy.
No.
Okay.
But the mechanism that is shown on screen very well could be this prosthetic arm because it looked like a winch with like a bladed thing on it.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. So that sounds actually plausible just based on what we know about the game.
So tomorrow we're gonna do more audio testing. How about tomorrow you show me that and we'll talk about it?
All right, sounds good.
And you guys can catch us next Wednesday for our first stream. We'll be doing Bloodborne because why not? Gross Tasha out and make her vomit. I'm gonna fuck with you really bad tomorrow to make up for the fact that you're gonna fuck with me really bad with Bloodborne.